Shalom, Hebrews and Shebrews, Hope-filled disciple. We're going to eat some daily bread. Welcome to the channel if you're new. We read out of the Scriptures Bible. They read similar to the King James, other than it keeps the deities, so Jesus and Yahweh the same. Anyway, let's get our daily bread on. We got a short chapter here in Exodus chapter 11, and then we'll move to Luke chapter 15, and we will cruise on. All right. Exodus 11, verse 1 says, And Yahweh said to Moshe, I am bringing yet one more plague on Pharaoh and on Mitzrayim. After that he is going to let you go from here. When he lets you go, he shall drive you out from here altogether. Speak now in the hearing of the people, and let every man ask from his neighbor, and every woman from her neighbor, objects of silver and objects of gold. And Yahweh gave the people favor in the eyes of the Mitzrites. And the man Moshe was very great in the land of Mitzrayim, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moshe said, Thus saith Yahweh, About midnight I am going out into the midst of Mitzrayim, and all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim shall die, from the firstborn of Pharaoh, who sits on his throne, even to the firstborn of the female servant, who is behind the handmill, and all the firstborn of the cattle. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Mitzrayim, such as never been, or ever shall be again. But against any of the children of Israel, no dog shall move its tongue, against man or against beast, so that you know that Yahweh makes distinction between Mitzrayim and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow down to me, saying, Get out, you and all the people at your feet, and after that I shall go out. And he went out from Pharaoh in great displeasure. But Yahweh said to Moshe, Pharaoh is not going to listen to you, in order to multiply my wonders in the land of Mitzrayim. And Moshe and Aaron did all these wonders before Pharaoh. However, Yahweh strengthened the heart of Pharaoh, and he did not let the children of Israel go out of his land. All right, so there's going to be a distinction between the Israelites, the Hebrews, and the Egyptians. And that will come in the form of the very first Passover. And we will get to that tomorrow. Let's turn to Luke. Luke 15. Luke 15. Now all the tax collectors and the sinners were coming to him to hear him. And the Pharisees and the scribes grumbled, saying, This one receives sinners and eats with them. And he spoke this parable to them, saying, What man among you, having 100 sheep, having lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the wilderness to go after the one which is lost until he find it? And having found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And having come home, he calls together his friends and his neighbors, saying to them, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. You know, we looked at that through Matthew, and we've looked at this before. But think about it. The one sheep that is lost, and how the shepherd rejoices, but man, the sheep himself, the rejoicing of the sheep that was lost. You know, that was me. It was you, maybe. The rejoicing that comes from being that sheep. Absolutely. I'm glad the shepherd come and found me. Sometimes we don't look at it in that sense, but I do, because I was that lost sheep. Anyway, read on. I say to you that in the same way there shall be more joy in heaven over the one sinner repenting than over 99 righteous ones who need no repentance. Or what woman, having 10 drachma, if she loses 1 drachma, does not light a lamp and sweep the house? Drachma says see weights and measures. Well, I would urge you to go look at that. I think it's a day's wages. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I looked at that. It's a coin, though. I know that. Verse 9, and having Let's see. Let me read that again. Verse 8. Or what woman having 10 drachmas, she loses 1 drachma, does not light a lamp and sweep the house and seek diligently till she finds it? And having found it, she calls friends and neighbors together, saying, Rejoice with me, for I found the drachma which I lost. I say to you, in the same way, there is joy in the presence of the messengers of Elohim over a sinner repenting. And he said, A certain man had 2 sons, and the younger of them said to his father, Father, give me my portion of goods falling to me. And he divided his livelihood between them. And not many days after, the younger son, having gathered all together, went away to a distant country, and there he wasted his goods with loose living. And when he had spent all, there arose a severe scarcity of food throughout the land, and he began to be in need. And he went and joined himself to one of the citizens of that country, and he sent him to his fields to feed pigs. Now, this would be the lowest of the low for a Hebrew boy, for a Hebrew man, a woman. Just to touch a pig is um, unheard of. And he was longing to fill his stomach with the pods which the pigs were eating, but no one gave to him. He's so hungry he would give anything to even eat what the pigs were eating. But having come to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough to spare, and I'm here perishing with hunger? How foolish am I? Sometimes we have to go out and hit the bottom of the barrel before we can come to our senses and come back to the Father. I know I had to. Of course, I didn't really know the Father to begin with. Um, I've said it before, but I was 27 before I even heard the name Jesus. But then I got real strong in following the faith and walking and learning the scriptures. And then I went on 10 years of running in an apostasy. So, I can kind of equate with this. And I come to the bottom of my barrel before I finally one day said, That's enough. Or the Lord told me that's enough, one way or the other. But having come to himself, he said, How many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I'm here perishing with hunger? Having risen, I shall go to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against the heaven and before you. Notice how he says that. I sinned against heaven and before you. Not against you, Father, but against the Lord in heaven. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Just make me one of your hired servants. And having risen, he went to his father, and while he was still a long way off, his father saw him, was moved with compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against the heaven and before you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring out the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand and sandals on his feet, and bring the fatted calf here, and slaughter it, and let us eat and rejoice. Because this son of mine was dead, and now he is alive again. He was lost, and is now found. And they began to rejoice. Now his older son was in the field, and when he came and approached the house, he heard the music and dancing. Having called one of the servants, he said, What was this meant? He said to him, Your brother has come, and your father has slaughtered the fatted calf, because he received him back in health. And he was wroth, and he would not go in. So his father came and pleaded with him, and answered and he said to his father, See, these many years I've been serving you, and I have never transgressed a command of yours. But to me you've never given a young goat, so I could rejoice with my friends. But when this son of yours came, notice this son of yours, not my brother, but this son of yours, who was devoured your livelihood with whores, you slaughtered the fatted calf for him? I don't get it, Dad. He said to him, Son, you are always with me, and all I have is yours. And we had to rejoice and be glad, for your brother was dead and is now alive, and was lost but now found. That happens in the church sometimes, a lot of times today. Um, those sitting in the pews for 20, 30, 40 years, they see someone who's been out a drunkard, got tattoos all over them, come into the church, and the Lord just really do a work in their life, and they get jealous. I've seen it in my own life, where People were not happy that, how does he know the scripture so well? How does he, how, why is he being exalted here? I didn't do it. The Lord did it. Don't be mad at me. Don't be mad at the Lord. Be glad. But no, we got jealousy and rage and pride and honor. Well, since I turned to Proverbs, let's go ahead and do Proverbs 29. If you're new to this channel, we will read 4 chapters of the scripture, one Old Testament, one New Testament, one Psalm, and the proverb of the day. And I give little commentary as the Lord would give me utterance, sometimes more, sometimes less. And then on this channel, I'll do in-depth studies. I post the message that I bring each week to the congregation. And so you can go and look in my archives and find several teachings on several different subjects. If you have a question, hit me up down in the comment section or email me at newstartendeavor2018 at yahoo.com or at gmail.com, sorry. Mishle 29. One often reproved, hardening his neck, is suddenly broken and there is no healing. When the righteous increase, the people rejoice. But when a wrong one rules, the people sigh. You see that in our president today. And it doesn't matter who's president. You're going to have that half the people happy, half the people pissed off. But when a wrong one rules, the people sigh. He who loves wisdom gladdens his father. But a companion of whores destroy wealth. A king establishes a land by right ruling, but one who receives bribes throws it down. A man who flatters his neighbor spreads a net for his own feet, and an evil man is ensnared by transgression. But the righteous sing and rejoices, and righteous know the plea of the poor. The wrong does not understand such knowledge. Scoffers ensnare a city, but the wise turn away wrath. When a wise man disputes with a foolish man, whether he rages or laughs, there is no peace. Bloodthirsty men hate the perfect and seek the life of the straight. A fool lets out all his breath, but the wise, keeping it back, calms it down. And this kind of goes with what we just read in Lucas. If a ruler listens to lying words, all his servants become wrong. The poor man and the oppressor have this in common: Yahweh gives light to the eyes of both. It's also said in other scriptures that the Lord allows the rain to fall on the just and the unjust alike, which goes back to the parable of the sower. We wait till the harvest before we pluck it all up. Verse 14, the king who rightly rules the poor with truth, his throne is established forever. King David, think about his throne. A rod and reproof give wisdom, but a child unrestrained brings shame to his mother. When the wrong become many, transgression increases, but the righteous look on their fall. Look at what's going on today. These are children who were not disciplined, who were all given a trophy, were never told no. They've never heard the word no before, and now they've grown up, and they're supposed to be adults, and they're still acting like 3-year-olds. Verse 16, when the wrong become many, transgression increases, but the righteous look on their fall. Discipline your son, and he brings rest and delight to your life. Where there is no vision, the people are let loose or perish, I believe the King James says. I look at this one because I have vision for this new church that the Lord has sent me forth to build up and bring forth. And I must have a vision for that. If I have no vision, then what are the people? Why would anybody want to follow me? But blessed is he who guards the Torah. A servant is not disciplined by words. Though he understands, he does not respond. Have you seen a man hasty in his words? There's more expectancy for a fool than for him. He who deals tenderly with his servant from youth has him as a son in the end. A man of displeasure stirs up strife, and a master of rage has many a transgression. The pride of a man brings him low, but the humble in spirit obtains esteem. He who shares with a thief hates his own life. He hears an oath, but does not report. The fear of a man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in Yahweh is set on high. Many seek the face of a ruler, but right ruling for a man comes from Yahweh. Let's equate that with our pastors today. How many pastors are in the pulpit today that they wanted to be pastors? They exalted themselves to that status, rather than allowing God to lift them and put them in that place. An unrighteous man is an abomination to the righteous, and he who is straight in the way is an abomination to the wrong. See, as we read these 4 chapters, if you're new here, um, you read the 4 chapters, you just read through them, and then that should inspire you to go deeper and do in-depth studies on something you've read. You know, 58, I believe so. Would you indeed speak righteousness in silence? We're in Psalms chapter 58. Sorry. Would you indeed speak righteousness in silence? Do you have? Do you judge straightly, you sons of men? No. In heart you work in righteousness. On earth you weigh out the violence of your hands. The wrong of men is estranged from the womb. These who speak lies go astray from birth. Their poison is like the poison of a snake, like a deaf cobra that stops its ear, so as not to hear the voice of whisperers, or a skilled caster of spells. O Elohim, break their teeth in their mouth. Break out the fangs of the young lion. O Yahweh, let them melt. Let them vanish as water. Let him aim his arrows that they can be cut down, like a snail which melts away as it moves, like a woman stillbirth. Let them not see the sun. Before your pots fill the thorns, whether green or ablaze, he sweeps them away. The righteous rejoice when he has seen vengeance, when he has seen the vengeance. He washes his feet in the blood of the wrong, and the wrong man says, truly the righteous are rewarded. Truly there is an Elohim judging in the earth. We're about to look at that tomorrow in Exodus, in Shemot. That was kind of quick today. Sometimes our daily reading's quick. Sometimes it takes longer. But on average, 30 minutes. Um, and so if you're new to this channel, like I said, we read the 4 chapters. What I've done for the past 7 years, ever since I began in the recovery ministry that I was a part of, we read 10 chapters a day, which is 3 Old, 3 New Testament, 3 Psalms, and then whatever proverb. And doing that one, it'll put you through the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and a little over 1 time a year, almost 1.5 times a year. And so by doing that, it gives you a fullness and a roundness and a whole of who God is, his whole entire being. And understand that the Old Testament's not just mean, wicked dad, and then he has a son and learns how to be nice in the New Testament. But no, it's the father that disciplines, but then after the discipline comes, he will scoop you up in his arms and love you and hug you like a good father should, to let you know that I discipline you because I love you. And today's wicked, deceiving church, as a whole, not all, but as a whole, um, lean one way or the other. You know, they're either far right or far left as far as discipline or no discipline. You know, hyper grace movement. You know, and it's frustrating to me because I look at the fullness of God, and I don't see it as that way. I see it as, you know, you get your butt whooped, but then Dad'll hug you. Same, you know, within reason, and that's the way God operates, and He does discipline us. And too often times, something bad happens or something not pleasant happens in our life, and it's automatically blame the devil. Maybe it's God getting your attention. Maybe God is disciplining you. Maybe God is raising you up for a tougher time to come. Um, the pure joy and happiness will come when we all go to glory. And so, this time on earth that we have is for a reason, and it's a season. So anyway, y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. This is Oilfield Disciple. Um, if you ain't subscribed to the channel, you like the content, subscribe, share the video. We went from 101 to 111 yesterday when I looked within one day. That's pretty cool. That's quite a bit, quite a good jump for this channel. And so at 200, we'll give away another piece of silver. Um, I got one more. I got one more piece of silver I got to ship out today. You know who you are. I'll get it out to you today. John Ishii, I'm glad you received yours. Um, at 200, I've got a coin. It's the one that was made for me by a brother of mine who cast silver, and it's the whole armor of God. It's a pretty cool coin. I don't know if I've got it in here. Let me look. Yep, I do. Yeah, it's this one right here. It's a little over 1 ounce, but it's one of his first castings, and so he sent it to me. It's a pretty cool coin. It's 999 5 silver, 999 fine silver, and so anyway, that's what we'll be giving away at 200. Y'all be blessed, be encouraged, and always be frustrated. This is Oilfield Disciple, and we will catch you on the next one.